As always, before any practice, take refuge and set our intention for Bodhisattva. With a wish for all beings to be free, I will always go for refuge to alive, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion. Today, in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, of any lineage and or any time or none, it generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Many of you have different refuge prayers or intention, things that you say, so I do try to leave you time to do the one you're doing. Okay, so I had an oops this week, an oops. And so, again, as always, with your permission, this may be a little different version, always pointing at the same thing today. Perhaps I'll tell you about the oops later, but if anybody's interested. But well, perhaps I'll do it really quickly now, and then we'll jump into whatever practice occurs. I had somehow got the feeling that, won't go into it a lot, but that in some lifetime, in some time and space, whatever, I had lost my compassion. And compassion is a misunderstood, that was my oops. I didn't lose, because I seem to have come in with it. I did not lose the knowing that we're all connected, all life is connected, and how we treat or how we interact with other life, what we perceive as other life, determines a great deal about us and them, and how our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions will develop. Now, that's pretty fancy words. Basically, from very young, I just had a feeling of connection, that we were all connected. I was given a gift of a father that would yell at passersby just for the hell of it if they made a turn that he didn't like, or, with the window down. And I could remember seeing the expressions on people's face of like hurt and pain when that happened. He seemed to particularly do it with women, but maybe he thought they were worse drivers. I don't know what was going on for him. But those kinds of experiences help me to know what kind of effect we have on each other. That's just human realm. When you add all the different kinds of life everywhere, many of you could feel that it's very hard to watch how much our human realm is destroying life on our planet. So without speaking a lot about that, what I came up with my feeling of lack of, that I'd forgotten compassion. It isn't compassion as the word is used. It is that absolute knowing of interconnectedness. And that I did not lose. What I forgot was how hard it is to be human. It's also said in the Buddhist tradition that, and probably others, that the only beings that have the potential to recognize, to awaken, are human realm beings, not necessarily Homo sapien. There are many of us in human bodies that are not particularly human. There are many, seems to me, many possibilities of animals, beings in animal bodies that have tremendous qualities of human and beyond. So I don't limit it to the human body. So what does all that mean? Why is human realm so hard? And then the idea that, or whatever, to do this practice as it may arise today, I have no idea, never done it. What I could feel in my heart was this constant war is too strong a word, but almost a conflict between, most species survive because they had survival instinct. Humans have very strong survival instinct, yes, most of us. And yet, what if we are recognizing, knowing the interconnectedness of all beings? All beings. Those seem to be in conflict. I think it's an illusion, but I don't know. We can set goals, have greed, have the desire to be famous, have all kinds of goals. You know that saying? Well, evidently I don't, it's not coming up, but be careful what you wish for because you might get it. If you've ever had a goal and you've gotten it, like you made your first $1 million, or probably nobody in here, but you never know. You made some kind of a success of your life, quote unquote. You did something that would further your survival, or felt like it would. You won a race, you won a talent show. You know that feeling, if you've ever had something like that? Most of us have had some taste of that. And it feels like, oh, that's the best feeling ever. It's like everything in the world is okay now. You know, I'm okay. I don't have to, I don't know, it's a hard feeling to describe. But there's a sense of ease in it. Ah, yes, I've climbed the mountain. I don't have to try so hard anymore. Something like that. None of those words are going to touch that feeling of openness that may occur. Happiness, joy. If you've had it, has anybody ever found it to last? You just have to find the next thing that will make you be okay, that will make you feel okay. So I think in starting this today, I'd like to remember or rest in that seeming conflict between our survival instinct, which drives all of the people that I may not care for and all of the people that I do care for. We all have it. We can't really deny it. We go around in practice saying, oh, there's no me. But if somebody walks up to you and tries to, with a gun, are you going to think about them and what their pain might be? Or are you going to think about how the hell you're going to survive? Or react, rather, maybe not even think. So, we can deny our survival instinct by saying, well, there is no me. That may be very true, but it does not ease that instinct that I've seen. Perhaps you've had a different experience. I thought we would go backwards today. And as I said, I have no idea how it will go. I would like to do the mantra with you, which is the sound of nope, and that'll come up by itself. Like I said, I'm lying by the seat of my pants, so to speak, or hopefully the seat of Chenrezig's pants. Did you ever stop to think that what we do and what so many people do around the world, saying the mantra of Chenrezig and making a deep wish, refuge, to experience open-heartedness without that separation of me and everything else out there. Utter open-heartedness to all arisings, whether we like them, we don't like them, without that need to control and make the world be the way we want it to be. I kind of think that's where Chenrezig hangs out. But did you ever stop to think that maybe it's the very doing of these things that beyond time and space allowed the manifestation of Chenrezig in the time Chenrezig is said to have walked on the earth? Ooh. Okay, that's just for fun, because I like that stuff. If we, for a moment, we can do this with what we understand from science, or it may occur as just a however it occurs for you is absolutely the expression of open-heartedness for us. We can allow it to come in through our six senses. So we rest in the, except we're going to go backwards in a minute, but light, because visual is so powerful to the Tibetan culture. And many cultures, actually, most of us are visual. We can rest into the presence of light. All the analogies or metaphors or similes, whatever the right word is. Let the child luminosity unite with the mother luminosity. Our Chenrezig practice, when we started going forward, is filled with rays of light, vibrant, alive light, not spotlight that points at something. That's coming through our eye organ, sense. The sound of the mantra, which is the expression of open-hearted, open-mindedness, Chenrezig, in sound. Shall we do it 3 times if you haven't had the lung? That's very Tibetan. And so repeat after me. Om, ma, ni, he, me, hung. Om, mani, me, hung. Om, mani, me, hung. The richness of the sound. Not really inside or outside, inside and outside, with very little separation. You can play with sound if you choose. You feel the vibration of sound, movement, touch. The feel of wind on your skin. What organ feels that vibration? You don't have to figure that out. You can vibrate and feel like it's inside your body. You can feel like it's outside your body. So a lot of the sense practice, if you will, opens to the experience and it not being limited to our body. I'm pretty sure if you're a very strong taste person, the relationship with what you're tasting can be quite amazing. That was fun for me, just to rest there. Same with smell. So that's the inner body and the yi, the sense of not even what's around us, maybe interconnected, all sense organs are. That one that lets you, that has you feel when somebody's coming up behind you, even though you can't see, hear, feel. That's the yi organ, and it's located around the heart. So I've been told. Let's see where you experience that. And with that sort of awareness of this form, nope, let's put it down for a minute. We'll find it later. And for a moment, let's rest into the idea, the sense, always often said, things are beyond time and space. So there is no beginning and no end. For a moment, let's imagine the universe as simply space. No particular, actually completely open. If we imagine space with the science we know, the past as we perceive it is not actually the past where it's occurring. That's all I'm going to say about that, because it gets really confusing if I hold on too tightly to it. Let's imagine that space as beyond time, beyond any limitation whatsoever, ununderstandable in our present day human form. Empty. Well, there we get into some of the confusions that our mind creates. As I believe from the Jewish tradition, a description was, I'm not going to be very good at this, so let's just go with the images, not worry about whether I've got it right. But the story involves allness and the inability of allness to be aware of any kind of separation, any kind of, if you'll pardon the expression, individual. You imagine this allness without limit, without space, limitations in space, without time, as time does require a sense of object moving from one place to another. And this space, none of that, but an absolute sort of open awareness beyond any sense of duality. It's allness beyond any sense of time, beyond any reference point to allness. How could there be an up or a down, or a good or a bad? No reference point whatsoever. No center, no outside. Complete allness. And within that allness arises a slight movement, like a wind. A spark of aliveness, perhaps. And as that spark of aliveness moves through the entire allness, naturally occurring with the union of the movement, the allness, manifestations begin to arise. Not really begin in time, but we're not going there today. Too confusing. And the original Buddha, as described, Kuntuzonpo, Kuntuzonmo, not gender specific, clearly, notices the arising of infinite manifestations, anything and everything, and realizes in that moment there is no separation. All the manifestations have arisen from spaciousness and the dance of the spark of aliveness. They are nothing other than that. Kuntuzano does not make the error of separating from that arising. And the path clearly is one of interconnectedness, even though there is no need to deny the senses within this form that is arising. We can rest right there in the union, never separate, of the three kayas, the infinite, unbounded, non-dual, outside of time and space, but outside isn't the right word, not limited by concepts of time and space, of allness, no reference point, no duality. And experience the movement, however we want to label, spark of aliveness. The first, as it is, that's the name Dharmakaya, allness. The second, that spark of aliveness, awareness, movement. Where no thing moves. Sambhogaka. And without effort, without a doing, the dance of the openness and the aliveness cannot help but create manifestations. The manifestations arise directly from that. Like you shine a light on a prism and you see a rainbow. It's the light present with the prism that creates infinite variations of color. The light and the prism together cannot help but have that occur. They don't talk to each other. It's just what naturally, organically occurs. And as we rest here, with a moment perhaps of no separation, why would the spaciousness need to chase itself or understand itself? It's allness. Why would the spark of aliveness, radiance, awareness, light need to look at itself. It simply is. And here's the rub. If, like Kuntuzongo, what appears to be, to some of us, individual manifestation, recognized immediately that it was none other than this dance, as all manifestations are, not separate. Arising, dissolving, never separate from allness, life, radiance. For most of us, we'll use human will. Here we come. A tiny little being. We say starts when it's born, but there's no telling where the beginning of that being started. Feel around. Without a sperm and an egg, there's no being. You may dance with that as far back as you want to, until there is no being other than the dance of alive awareness in allness. And this little being comes out, and what an overwhelming world it comes into. This manifestation, never created individually, independently, totally dependent on its creation. Generations, if you will. Poor little thing is totally dependent. Can't feed itself, doesn't even know any words to express such a thing. Experiences sensation. The little being doesn't call that hunger. Wetness, there's no name for anything. Totally dependent little being that has no chance to survive without the other beings around it. Us. And yet the wish to survive is there. You're a little being with all the things display in front of it, without words even. Has moments of liking and not liking. It starts to form reactions. The interaction that little being has with what it is dependent on. Without that knowledge, the start to personality. Oh, there's maybe some that came in from past generations, past life. words develop. We're taught to name things as though that name is actually what the thing is. Rest there for a moment. We recognize that the name, well, we know what different languages there are. The name has really nothing to do with whatever we've attached it to. Can you feel that? Can you feel it perhaps as part of the intergenerational human realm wish to survive? Why is it so important for us to teach that generation after generation? Ah, tree, that name. Ooh, perhaps something to build with, to make a shelter, perhaps something to set on fire, to create warmth. Are those not all about survival? And our separation from our experience occurs right there again and again. Not all from the past and what we were taught. We continue it in every moment. Everything that arises, we put a veil, a shield, a membrane between this I and everything out there. Like, dislike, grasp, push away. Can you feel for a moment if somehow all the names of everything were stripped away? And for a moment, you experienced everything freshly. You didn't have a way to name it. It had all kinds of stories about what it was. Is it safe? Do I like it? They were just manifestations, freshly in every moment. You may notice a certain discomfort, followed by a story of how would I know whether to interact with it? Is it dangerous? Is it feel it? Oh, survival instinct, so powerful. Not wrong. Please don't hear it as wrong. If you knew beyond a doubt, a deep knowing, not an intellectual understanding, that you are one of infinite manifestations, arising, dissolving, never for an instant being separate or apart from, allness, aliveness, radiance, that you will dissolve again and again. You will form again and again, and you will dissolve again and again, as no thing other than that. You might have a brief experience of unnameable. Quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, I have arrived, I am home. Never left home. We're never separate from it. Or whichever word you choose. There is no word to encompass the essence of what's pointed at. Now, for a moment, every day, take a breath and rest into what cannot be described with words. The fullness of aliveness, radiance. Words are not helpful because as human realm, then we grab onto those words. We try to look at that, figure that out. We experience a type of resistance to any kind of sensation of a lack of specialness, you will, of individualness, of being no different than a thought, a feeling, a perception, any kind of manifestation of life. Or you may relax completely for the first time. Oh, sometimes the words come up, maybe like, oh, I'm just one of the colors in the rainbow. All I have to do is be my color. No big deal. And I can't even do that. I'm already that. Ooh, that's relaxing. Kuntuzan po, kuntuzan. When we start the process of naming and likes and dislikes, and we start building that memory with a lot of help from those raising us, who also want us, most of them, to be safe. Or they're so unaware they don't even notice we're suffering. Membrane of self-protection starts right there. From it comes, I like, I don't like. I need, I don't. And I ignore most because it has no effect on me. It's the start of a loneliness that most of us run from, distract ourselves from, with trying to do things. May not feel like that be the word that touches your center. Maybe indescribable fear of some nature that you automatically run from. From that very oops, come the, it's called the 5 poisons, which are actually the 5 wisdoms, but they're twisted because of that separation. Anger, jealousy, greed, depression, competition to be good enough. and the struggle to end the suffering, which actually causes the suffering. Ouch. Just got a picture of us as our body. Imagine, and there are illnesses that do this. Cause our biology to turn on itself. But usually not. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say more about that. But here we are in this form. Imagine if every organ, every cell, every what we might perceive as being separate, if they all experienced themselves as being separate, and they all started to fight with each other or trying to grab, you can see the gallbladder grabbing the liver because the liver is so special and they want that, but they don't want the darn stomach. It keeps making them work. It's a little cute. But can you feel for a moment if the body emotionally turned on itself and tried to grab some things and push away others? Ouch. Oh, that is what we do. We just don't do it to our own bodies. We want that part, that form to survive. What if, for a moment, not saying it will ever happen, not saying everyone will awaken, what if that desire that we hear, oh, wrong word, that opening that we hear from Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, great examples of open-heartedness, Chenrezig. What if it's ultimately utterly selfish in a way? Just for a moment, imagine if we all awoke together to our interconnectedness, to our arising and dissolving. We just got it. Not intellectually helpful, but not won't change it. We experienced it in a moment. Wouldn't we want everyone to be able to experience that? Can you imagine a world or a universe or whatever, a neighborhood where we weren't afraid of each other? Where we recognized that how we interacted with each other created our experience, our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Would we, easy for me, I'm old. Well, maybe not easy in action. We'll see. If we really experience that total, not separated by past and future, those just create ongoing waves. For a moment, can you imagine if somehow throwing yourself on the rocks and destroying your form in that way would allow every other being who are unhuman today, certainly be of benefit to every other being, to wake up and recognize the interconnectedness of all life. Did you throw yourself on the rocks? See why being human is so fucking hard? Can't fight that wish to survive. We can only let it see again and again and again that it's holding on to that tightly. With all the thoughts, feelings, and perceptions it creates to survive. We can only notice again and again and again. That's not real. And rest again and again and again into the wholeness of all life. Rising, dissolving. Did you get a little tweak in your stomach area, your gut going, kinda? Or was there a moment of relaxation, or both? What about you? But the I that I consider me takes refuge again and again and again. But it's not takes refuge, becomes the refuge again and again and again without separation. And then grabs back the I. It's hard to be human. If we keep that dance of survival, which creates whatever your deepest fear is: loneliness, isolation, separateness, knowing, really knowing you're rising and you're going to die. You're really no different in essence from any manifestation, just the color of the rainbow. And then notice the I go, no, 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 no. I want to be special. I want to be the best Buddhist. I want to be the most loving being. I want to be the president, not mine. Eesh. Let me watch the world. If I destroy that I don't like, or that I feel takes away my survival, there we go. What if at one time that person with a gun or a weapon coming towards you, I think it's ever possible that your heart could stay open and be more, I don't have the right, not see that being as separate from you. And interact spontaneously with that absolute certainty of non-intellectual knowing, instead of what probably all of us would do. Eek! I must protect myself. Maybe if I run, maybe if I, all the things we do. But can you imagine for a moment no idea what would happen. I'm pretty sure I would go eek, but I don't know. What if your survival being decided, and it was proved again and again, as most of our belief systems prove themselves, that having power was better than having to worry about whether somebody loved you? To survive, you would grasp power any way you could get it. Do you think you're better than Donald Trump or Putin or anybody that you may or may not like? You think you're better? Just all have our own tools for that survival. Some of them appear to me to be a little uglier than others, but that's my judgment. Same motivation. When I felt like I lost my compassion, it was an I that was impatient or whatever. And I thought the I was being lacking compassion. Can you feel the difference between the knowing of interconnectedness, which is came to me as, you remember when Lama Lena talks about gravity? That there's a knowing of gravity, but you don't go around trying to grab it or trying to say, I need to get my gravity. I need to be gravitational, whatever. It's just there. That was my oops. The minute I worry about my compassion, it's got nothing to do with bodhicitta. You know what? Bodhicitta is simply that realization of interconnectedness beyond intellectual. And you might not even notice if you have it. Except you'll notice when you're acting from a place that is not that. Maybe, I don't know. Feel free to share your own experience with yourself or with me. May we all, enough words, may we all have moments I almost said where we experience, but the moments aren't that. We all have moments beyond the illusion of the need for self-protectiveness. May we all have moments of being, the embrace of life for life. May we all have an experience that recognizes that our deepest fear, whether it is of loneliness, isolation, death, not surviving, whatever it is, whatever thing we put on it, it's an experience, a sensation that can be stripped naked. It's an illusion. That fear is deeply an illusion. To say that is useless. May all beings have a moment of the experience. Refuge. You are refuge. You are so much more than the individual grasping, pushing away. Just part of this manifestation at this moment. May we all recognize in Thich Nhat Hanh's words, I have arrived, I am home. The knowing that we were never anything else. For a moment, can all beings have a glimpse of what freedom that word is actually pointing? May we all recognize the huge amount of suffering, not pain, pain. Suffering comes from our clinging, attachment, aversion. May we have moments of resting, open freedom. Nope, resting, being. Oh, okay, rose. This may be totally inappropriate, but it arose, so I'll say it. May this being speaking to you, whoever, this I that still thinks it's an I, something is occurring. May we support each other in the shifts that are called blessings by one great Rinpoche. When asked, what's a blessing? Oh, it's when a shift occurs. We all support each other in those shifts along the path, whether we understand them or not. If there's an I for any of us that thinks they've got it, oh, I get it all. May that I look into its own eyes and realize they've made it oops. Comforting at the moment, but in the end, useless. Oh, thank you all so much for allowing this to occur, for being part of this together. Whew. Thank you. May all beings have such opportunities.